So these are my guns for going through the end of the world as Snake Plissken. Like, you have your revolver and like your MAC-10. And like, I wanted to modernize a bit, so we went with this. Like, I'm kind of half joking, half not joking, but like, these are my EDC guns. Like, this is usually in my purse or on my hip-ish thing. Like, I have this thing on, like, on a baldric, basically. I can throw it on like a shoulder holster. And I kind of use it like that. I like it. Just playing around, it's just a loop of fucking 1,200 pound test cord with a leather holster on it, but it works. And the glow-in-the-dark shit came out of my XS sight, so that's sad. I think I'm gonna fill it in with orange or something. But the thought on the black powder revolver is longevity, and the thought on the M17 is the same. It's cool that the frame in there is the gun and I can rebuild it forever. For now, I really like this like badass Mad Max PDW setup. And I honestly, the brace thing on this, I kind of wish I had it because they ended up doing the illegal brace bullshit, and I kind of want to like be the resistance or whatever. But also I kind of like being out of the eye of Sauron, and I hated this whole spring mechanism bullshit. There's a part of me that is thinking about getting a pig nose adapter for an AR tube and bolting it on in a way onto this thing and putting a real stock on it, because I think that would be badass. But I don't know, it would lose its compact nature then. Although you could always make it to where you could like QD the fucking stock, but like I wouldn't want to do that. So here she sits, probably. The tape there is new. That's hockey tape. It's the only camouflage hockey tape on Amazon. I started using that because of a dude I watch on YouTube, Alan K. He's on loan or something like that. He was putting that on kukris, and I thought it would be good on the mags, and it is really nice. It's very grippy. It, kind of clashes with the look of the gun a bit, but I kind of think I might touch it up with a little bit of green paint and darken it up, because that's what he did to his kukri. But it works pretty well for that. The spare magazine I have over here is a sideways mag holder from Mag Holder LLC. This is the one for the 226, and it also works on the M17 mags. This is the concealed carry case for that bitch. I like it. It's a Timbuk2 laptop case, and it works for me. I bought it in college. I just had it, so I would go out and buy one of those. They're not very expensive, and they're pretty well made, and they fit the flux rater like a glove. I kind of like, for me, I'm carrying this 90% of the time, this 10. But there is a 10. And when it's 10, it's 10, and that's why I started carrying a fucking PDW with, there's 54, 60, there's 80 rounds of 9mm there, plus 6 shots in the cap and ball. Things get desperate. I love carrying a cap and ball revolver in the 21st century, and it's sexy. Plus, you gotta admit, my sight mod is cool. My grip mod is cool. The grips are burned and beeswax like a blacksmith hammer handle, so they're like grippy even when wet. It's a sexy gun. Now, it did make the grip warp a little bit, but that's just, that is what it is. And yes, it's loaded and capped. It's been loaded ever since the video I made loading it months ago, before I went to go see Bear Independent, whenever that was. Like, fuck, time is kind of flying by in some ways, because like, I don't know, I'm not really doing much, and I'm just watching the news and working and making videos for you fucks. and smoking way too much and ranting at the universe all night. Sorry about that. But I don't know. I came into this setup in particular because, like, I think the optics of the black powder revolver are good, and I wouldn't be reloading a single action anyway. And, like, so if I travel to California, I can carry this, I believe. Maybe. Much more likely. In any event, I'm smoking a bunch of weed, so I carry this most of the time. Okay? And, you know, I think that's a reasonable thing. I think any police officer in Oklahoma finding this on me wouldn't say anything about it. Also, I believe it's fully legal now to smoke weed and own guns and all that shit here, but I don't really know how that goes, so, you know, we're an outlaw. Carry an outlaw pistol. And then this is really like I wanted a Snake Plissken gun. I wanted a gun I could have on my hip that had rifle-type firepower, or as close as you can get. Shh. Neighbor's dog. And, you know, something cool and modern and sci-fi. And I really liked the look of the whole springy stock bullshit. But the length of pull is too short, first off. And like, oh, get the stocked version. Yeah, I don't think the stocked version would have been that much better. It would have been better. But for my money, I'm basically using the sling to pull it out taut and or pressing it against my face, which is tricky. I did that the other day and took basically the gun to the forehead. So, you know, control the gun. Yeah. What did I say? I'm a girl. Like, this is the other thing, is like, this is pretty much my primary thing. Like, the AR-15s and shit I have, and like, I might use one of those for home defense if someone broke in right now. But my plan is for this to be everything aside from this, and maybe like, yeah, the 1911 will be on my bedside table or something like that. We have to keep that one because Churchy likes the laser. That's the way it is. Anyway, yeah, I want the most compact thing that I can get with the most amount of firepower and the most future-proofness, and that's why we picked the SIG, because of its U.S. Army adoption and hopeful long career and upgrades and whatever. This thing will be future-proof as fuck. Not to mention, SIG's pretty well on selling to the civilian market. Like, they're backing that horse big, so I'm hoping. If not, like, my 1911 and my black powder pistol work, I guess. Like, this thing will probably last a long time as is. But I view it as a, you know, the most future-proof option, basically. I know, like, pistols are kind of dubious use, but, like, they're so dubious that when I carry something in a pistol caliber, I want a fucking red dot on it. Like, I've seen the accuracy difference. Just a pistol with a red dot versus a pistol without a red dot. Much less having all this extra to hang on to and push out against a sling and that light. And I'm setting myself up for a win here. And the thought on this is, if you go back and watch old Nut and Fancy videos and shit, you'll eventually find him talking about, like, his air crew survival shit or whatever. And at some point, he talks about having a SIG P226 with a bunch of 20-round magazines. This is the same idea. You know, we've just decided to buy a Flux Raider and completely fucking ruin it for most people, because it gives us an optic and this shit where you can fucking reload. I mean, I just did that one-handed. So it's like the ultimate, like, pilot survival pistol thing. It's like all of my guns are like super survival heavy. My 22 is a survival rifle. My AR Loki is meant to be like a takedown survival AR-15. You know, I don't know. I'm into that kind of a gun. I think a lot of other people are too. And that's this thing too. Like, in a world where bullets might be hard to come by, if you can get away with using this, you might get away with using this, you know? Not to mention, a lot of people won't tell you this. This is loud. This is quiet. And like, you're like, oh, how big of a difference would it make? Pretty big difference. I've shot someone with one of these inside of a home before, and the other people in the home didn't hear it happen. Welcome to Mexico. So, yeah, it's pretty fucking quiet, really. It was a big house, and we were at one end, and they were at the other. And I'm sure that they heard a thump, but I don't know why the black powder community doesn't advertise that more. That, like, it's basically a suppressed pistol. Compared to this thing, it's hella suppressed, and you only get 6 shots. So, like, compared to dumping 2 mags, this is quiet boy. This is a loud boy. Not to mention, this is in a bag, right? You could wear this open in the holster. Like, this is set up to where you can adjust the size of this. Those separate, and it becomes like a belt. You know, that might take some playing with. I don't really do that much. I wear it more as a shoulder holster because that's kind of what I like. And, like, I think it has something to do with the ass and the tits, probably. But anywho's, the 9mm has its advantages for cost, and that's why we went with 9 over other calibers, which I could have done. I built this gun completely from the ground up. I could have done 357 SIG or 40, or I don't know if 45 would have worked in this. I even considered getting a SIG P250 and putting it into the Cux Raider here to have it double action only, but I ended up deciding that I didn't need that. It would have been cool. It would have been cool because so many people wouldn't be able to shoot this gun. But at the same time, I kind of like to set myself up for success. So, you know, we decided to go single action. And I found a good deal on the gun I wanted. I wanted to get one with the optic cut in case I ever wanted to cut this off and do an optic on here, which is something that could happen. Like, I really like this part of this more than this part of this. I do like the fixed optic. And, like, that's the thing, is you'd have to get one of the shitty little optics for here and do all of that. And, like, I think in reality, probably just get a fucking T2 micro for this thing. I don't know. I don't mind having all this junk on the back of the gun because I'm going to conceal it in a fucking bag. And, like, with one mag, this thing is actually quite handy. Like, you could totally shoot it this way. Having the 4... I don't want to call it a grip pedal, makes it pretty fucking sweet to shoot two-handed though. And that makes it easy to carry all the extra weight of the fucking double mag, which is dope. Just, it is. Having 54 rounds of 9mm on the gun is dope. And then we have another 26 in Mr. Backup here. Just so much firepower. And with all the riots and shit going on over the last couple of years, I went from carrying a .32 revolver that I really liked to carrying little 9mm handguns to carrying a rifle in a bag for a bit there. We were carrying Tiger Queen, so that little black and green 11.5-inch AR pistol. I built it to kind of look like an XM177E2. Fell out of a dumpster in the 90s. Should tell you exactly what that gun looked like. So, carrying around a little PDW AR-15, that was the right path, but it was too big, and that's why this thing is kind of the successor. When I went for 2.0 on this. I bought a Shockwave and this thing, and ended up shooting them both and deciding that I wasn't gonna keep them both. And I really liked this thing, and I really didn't care for the Shockwave. And I had a buddy who loved what I had done to the Shockwave and paid me good money for it. So that all worked out. But like, yeah, this is where my mind is at though. It's like 12 gauge or 9mm in volume. Like, that's where I was going. And in reality, this one, because it's so fucking small compared to the shotgun, if you could get one of the like AOW Mossbergs, like the Serbu Super Shorties, one of those with a few rounds of buck in it would be a handy little thing to carry around with you, wouldn't it? But the thing is, those are illegal as fuck. And this contraption I've made here happens to be fully legal still under the laws. That's why I don't think I'm going to put a stock on it. Like, I kind of like being just within the law with my fucking pirate pistol that I'm carrying too. I'm feeling better today. I think it helps to vent and get some of the venom out. Oh, it does me. The fact that I'm sure it affects someone else too, that's just bonus. The idea of running around with a PDW in the end of the world, I think, is more viable than most people would believe, but it's less viable than brass facts would have you believe. If that makes any sense about where I stand on it. I'm doing this because it's the most firepower that I can carry concealed, and like, that doesn't look out of place on me, especially carrying a purse and that, and fucking wearing a fluffy sweater and a hat, and like, I look like a fucking hooker or something with my bags. So as such, I think I can get away with this. I'm also thinking about adding a sword cane, because like, in reality, most of the time I'm not running around with this, and this only has 6 shots. So like, sword and saber is outdated. I can't get away with wearing a saber openly, sadly. But Cold Steel makes a bitchin' sword cane for $70 from Midway USA. Go support Midway USA. Fuck brownells.com. Seriously. Anyway, but that thing paired with this would be an awesome like sword and saber option, I think, for the 21st century. And like, my whole thing is to have like a cowboy rig, kind of. And like, this is like my pistol, like my 1911 would be another like pistol option. And then this is like a fucking like lever action, modern day version. This is like the modern day version of a mare's leg. It's exactly what it is. I'm running around Tulsa with a fucking 21st century mare's leg. So I'm going to title this video, The 21st Century Mare's Leg Concept. See you guys later.